Okay, hi everyone, Vickie here, Rock and Roll Prophetess. We're going to take a look at the full moon chart happening on August 18th, 2016, 5:26 a.m. Eastern. Times will vary. So it's a full moon in Aquarius, but it's also an eclipse. It's a full moon eclipse chart. So we have the moon opposed at 25 Aquarius, opposed the sun at 25 Leo. Well, there's a lot to look at here. Let's see eclipses first of all. Eclipse charts usually last a little longer. They last 6 months as opposed to 1 month as a normal full moon chart. The effects could last that long. And full moon eclipses often will eclipse something out of your life. Okay. Now I'm going to look at some general things, but also it's good to know your own chart, because whatever house it is, like say if this was your chart, like if you had Aries rising, 11th house, friends and associates. Friends and associates may be eclipsed out of your life, but it's going to be different, of course, for every chart. So you could, that's pretty easy to look at on your own. I'm not going to go through each one, but something can be eclipsed out of your life. With Aquarius, though, it's like a full moon is still an awareness spot. It shines a light, right? And it's going to shine a light on Aquarium type of things. Aquarius is technology, advancement, it's mental, it's the mind, it's inventions, it's space travel, it's all and it is friends and associates, because it does rule over the 11th house. Like I have this thing over here. And it is groups that people belong. It's the humanitarian. It's the for everyone, the good for all. So we could have some enlightenment about it, and even more so because this asteroid Pallas is here, Pallas Athena, in Aquarius, conjunct 3 degrees out. And I always think of Pallas as rather Aquarian. It's the invention, mother's invention, like the Frank Zappa band. But it is. I feel like Pallas it's the inventor, fashioner of tools, ideas, new ways of thinking, breaking out of the old molds, moving forward into the future thought, inventions, new things. So there's a lot of stuff about new. Now, it's opposed to Sun and Leo. And everything else is kind of shifting into Virgo now, all the personal planets, and Leo's on its way in there too. So we've had this emphasis on Leo, and now we're going to have this emphasis in Virgo too, which is always, every time this year, it's so appropriate that, we go back to school up here in the Western worlds and Northern Hemisphere. We go back to school when the sun's in Virgo, because it's like time to get down to business, time to, get detail-oriented, get your pencils sharpened, if they even use pencils anymore, I don't know. But that kind of energy, like let's get organized, let's get our school supplies together, let's get our school clothes together, let's, figure out our schedule for work and school and da-da-da-da-da. So all this energy is starting to come right in too, right behind this. And it's conjunct with the nodes and everything. But the other thing I wanted to get to is Virgo, Jupiter, 25 degrees is the eclipse point. Jupiter's at 25 with Mercury also. So it reinforces this very mental vibration surrounding this chart and this event. And it's kind of we're leading in toward. So a lot of mental activity, a lot of detail-oriented activity, a lot of thinking. In addition to that, Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, the ruler of the full moon, the eclipse moon, is also at that point, at 24 degrees. So it's sextiling the moon and trining the sun. So it's even bringing in more mental energy. It's even though these things are moving into Earth over here, the personal planets, there's a lot of mental. And of the Earth signs, Virgo, ruled by Mercury, is a very mental planet in itself too, or a sign or a placement, So it's a lot of thinking going on, a lot of brain work, a lot of thinking, a lot of calculating. Hopefully a lot of awareness. That would be the best outcome. That would be the most favorable outcome of this kind of energy. That's how you could use this energy or utilize it in a very positive way, is using it as for mental capacity type of things. The trouble is, that's all well and good. Excuse me, but this stuff is moving into Virgo. The Virgo degree here of Jupiter conjunct Mercury is getting activated, and it's still opposed Chiron. So we're all still dealing with these old past wounds, and this is kind of almost like an anchor. Doesn't it look like an anchor dropped in the water? You know, Pisces. You drop an anchor in, and it can be hard to move past some of these old things. You know, some people may have issues that they just can't get over it, and they can't heal the old wounds, and they might get stuck in the past. And with the convolutedness we bring in, I've talked at length about this with the Neptune conjunct the South Node. We don't see the past clearly. We cling to our woundedness. We cling to our victim vibration, you know, the martyr energy of the Pisces age. And danger is a strong word, but the trap that some you may fall into, that people can fall into with this kind of vibration, is we just want to explain it all away. Come up with a, you know, elaborate on our story, you know, run it through your mind and come up with a bunch of stories and a bunch of more excuses as to why things go wrong, and blaming and accusations. You know, these are the kind of things that could happen, hopefully would not happen, but that could be the downside of this energy. The upside is, if you're willing to, if you're interested in spiritual growth, and I think a lot of people who are watching these videos are, you could really have some big awareness, some big enlightened moments. If you're tired of carrying around this sack of rocks, this heavy weight, these emotional burdens, you could have some kind of big enlightenment and just, you know, be lightened. Your load could be lightened tremendously. If you don't follow up and get down into this and overanalyze it and make it too more complicated than it needs to be, that's something that I think a lot of us do. And I've been guilty of this, but this happens a lot. We make it too complicated. And that's sometimes the Virgo energy. It can overcomplicate things that really are pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, this will happen in relationships a lot. People, you know, a lot of times more with women, but men can get in this zone too. It's like, well, what is they thinking? How do they think? Well, maybe it's this, this, and this long scenario. What was that great Sex and the City thing? And it spawned the book and everything. Maybe he's not that into you. You know? Sometimes the simplest answer is, and I'm not saying that that's this particular message for anybody that you should, you know, but sometimes it's like that. You know, it's the simplest answer is often the right answer. And don't overanalyze. Don't overthink it. Don't paint the picture. Tell the story with the slant of victimhood and woundedness and somehow trying to figure it out or justify it. Sometimes you just can't figure it out or justify it, and it's really just not worth your energy or time to do so. You know, the sun is still in Leo, so we still have a little bit of this more fun energy, the last breaths of summer here for the Northern Hemisphere people, until we have to go back to school and work and whatever in September. So, eclipse is going to bring an awareness, you know. It's going to amp it up. You know, it's going to electrify it, especially with this Uranus energy, Aquarius Uranus energy. It's electrified, it's magnified, it's amped up, you know. So are we amping up our enlightenment? And are we going into, what's that Star Trek thing, you know, bold news territory where no man has gone before, or maybe where you have never gone before in your head? Are you going to come to some new awareness, understanding? Because that could very possibly be. And then maybe what would be eclipsed out of your life would be the burdens that you've been carrying around. You know, ideally, that would be a real positive way to use this energy. Or are we going to amp up the mental anguish, the drama, the storytelling, the, you know, scrutinizing every little thing? Well, he said this, so it must mean this, and you know, and getting off on these crazy tangents? Or are we just going to lighten our load and let it fly and let it go? So it could go either way, you know. There's a lot of mental energy, but then there's a lot of also the Virgo with the grounding in that. You know, Venus is transit the North Node between, I'm recording this so like a week ahead of time. Today's the 10th, so it's 8 days before. Venus is going to transit and hit that node in Virgo. So that's some good energy for finding new love. If somebody out there is finding new love, don't get caught up in the past of what's happened. Really hooking onto and really getting a grasp of what do you really love in this life? What does bring you joy? What does bring you pleasure? Through Venus energy. You know, create, what do you want to create through Venus energy? How are you expressing love? You know, Venus energy is completely activated with this node, and it's a more powerful presence because it's like it can set your course. You know, there's some powerful energy at play for setting your course. You know, setting the course you're going to follow. And so this could be very powerful, especially if you have planets in Virgo that are really being activated around this 12 to 15 degree, or even 10 degrees, you know, the low degrees. And for many of you born in the 60s, which I know a lot of our viewers are, oh, excuse me, I think I hit the stand there, that is a lot of times where that Pluto-Uranus conjunction happened in the 60s. It's in a lot of people's birth charts. And I've said this before, I feel like the people with the Pluto-Uranus, or Pluto and Virgo especially, you know, came here to heal the earth. So there could be activities, and it's not always a direct path, especially with Uranus and Aquarius energy involved. It could just be totally surprising and totally off guard. It's electric. Boogie, oogie, oogie. But it could just come out of a sudden. There could be sudden twists and turns in the path. And you with the Virgo, you can't figure it all out. Yeah, you came to heal the earth, and maybe something's going to happen during this. If something happens during this time, and you have that, or anything really at that angle, at that mid-degree Virgo stuff, it could be very important, even if it seems like it's a small thing right now, or you can't figure it out in your head, how it could possibly get you on your true path of healing the earth, or whatever it may be, you know. And if you want to find out, you could always order a soul reading. But back to the chart. You know, you don't overrate. You don't have to know every single detail about it. You don't have to know exactly how it's all going to work out. Just know that something big could really be being activated to bring ultimate Venus energy, love, joy, creativity. And it's not just romantic love. You know, self-expression, Venus. You know, all good things. Venus is, you know, there's not much you can say bad about Venus except for overindulgence. And that can be a factor too, especially when it gets up by Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter together can be overindulgence. But overindulgence in Virgo kind of stuff, you know. So analyzing, thinking too hard, working too hard, freaking out about your health stuff. You know, sometimes we can do that too. We can, oh my God, especially if you ever watch TV. It's like, wow. These commercials are off the hook, crazy. Yeah, so it's a point of awareness. The fact that it's a full moon is, the fact that it's an eclipse full moon is a point of awareness, the fact that it's conjunct Pallas. Enlightenment awareness. Electrified, supercharged, you know, it's charged up. There's a lot of electricity here, you know. And the ball's in your court as to what you're going to do with that energy too, you know. You might need to just back away from that, you know. Go fly a kite. I don't know why I said that, but that just popped into my head. And not in a way like, you know, those old expressions. Go fly a kite. That meant like go screw off, you know. It was like an insult. Like, what's the other from that about? Take a long walk on a short pier. You know, go fly a kite. Like, get lost, you bother me. Not that way. I mean, literally, go fly a kite. And I'm feeling like it could be a good thing because it's air energy. But anyways, I digress. I want to get over to here because this is coming in too. We've got the Saturn, Mars coming in Sagittarius. So warriors for Sagittarius. You know, that this could be a lot of people wanting to prove their point. And, you know, again, going over details. And in Aquarius and Uranus too, this full moon and everything, that rules the internet. It rules everything that goes on in social media. And the crazy stuff people post. I mean, it's like lie upon lie upon lie. And you look some of this up, and it's complete, utter false. You know, and I'm not saying anything in particular, because it's everything under the sun. Crazy stuff. I've just been doing that lately. It's like, this sounds too crazy to be true. Let me try to look it up. And, you know, it's unsubstantiated. It's rumored. But yet it's got 5 million views, you know, because it's behind some mental thing that people are fixated on. And here's to prove my point. See? I told you. You know, so be careful not to get caught up in that stuff. And Mars is this aggression for my ideals. Ninth house ideals, my religious beliefs, my ideals, my higher learning. Mars and Saturn together can be pretty, you know, it's very male energy. Both are male energy. Both. This is being the status quo, and this is the warrior, you know. And traditionally, Mars warrior energy is not, you know, it's aggression, it's war. You know, Mars is the god of war. So this could be flaring up as well. And then you factor in all this Virgo, and I'm sure I'm right. You know, you gotta just get over trying to prove you're right, everybody. Come on. Because again, what's right today is not gonna be right tomorrow. And it's just like, the need to prove you're right is the stagnation of all things, because therefore it becomes fixed, right? And Aquarius is not about being fixed. It's a fixed sign, it is, but it's progressive. It's not about being stuck or staying. You know, it's about what's the next thing that's coming out. It rules technology. What's the next gadget? What's the next app? What's the new phone, the new this, the new that, the new invention. So, fighting for and you know, working up this good argument with all these facts and all these, you know, things. These things that are facts today are not. And I used this analogy before with the Olympics being on, you know, whatever, the 100-meter dash 100 years ago was whatever. It's a joke by today's standards. So things are constantly changing and moving and expanding and moving forward. And that's the whole energy of Aquarius. It's about moving forward. So we've got the two male energies here, and then we've got the two feminine. We've got the Pallas coming in with Black Moon Lilith over here in Scorpio. So that's very much two, Juno. Did I say Pallas? This is Juno. This is very much two feminine icons. Juno being the queen of the gods, and Lilith, of course, being the, sorry about the dog if you can hear that, the first wife of Adam, who wasn't going to take his crap, and suffered greatly for it. And has been tried to make it in a man's world, and who had been chastised and you know, hurt. They did all sorts of horrible things to her. If you read up on it, they killed her children. They did all this stuff. So the powerful woman, the empowered woman, who is chastised. Does that sound kind of familiar? Without starting any arguments. But Juno is coming in here, and I think Juno, you know, this is can help, give Lilith a little bit of help here, you know, because you catch more flies with honey, whatever, than you do with vinegar. You know, Juno is all about beauty, grace, you know, the typical feminine things, you know, the gentle, beautiful woman, the love, the god. I believe she might be one of the goddess of love or something. There's some association there. But that's that vibe, you know, it's that love vibe. And then Lilith in Scorpio is just like, I'm not bound down to anybody. I don't have to be sweet. Screw you. I'm just as powerful as you. You know, and there's ways, you know, the charm, you know, Juno could add a little charm, or, you know, give Lilith over here a few pointers on how to win friends and influence people. Right? And it's not always through, like, might doesn't make right. Because there's a lot of this. There's a lot of this might makes right kind of thing here. There's an undertow of that, especially with the Saturn joining the Mars here. And that's kind of Lilith's rap, especially with Lilith and Scorpio. You know, it's just like, So it's some volatile stuff in a way. You know, there's a lot of volatility, but I like the trine. I like that the full moon in Aquarius is sextiling or trining the sun to its ruling planet. So hopefully that would give us some real positive application and some positive energy towards it. There seems to also be a grand trine in water. We've got Vesta down here in Cancer, trine South Node in Pisces, trine the Lilith Juno thing. So there's this grand trine in water, mostly with the asteroids and Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, but also bringing in Neptune in the South Node. So, I mean, it comes back to what I say all the time. I mean, and it's not just me because I'm so watery in my chart. But, like I said, you can find websites that'll support any claim. You can find, and it's that back to that false evidence appearing real, fear, right? And that's the kind of stuff that's getting passed around on social media a lot. And it's not just because I'm taking my personal beliefs out of it, because I find it on all sorts of stuff. It's just like, are you really? Is that true? And you start looking it up, and it's just like, scare tactics, and overthinking things. With this kind of energy, all this Virgo and this stuff, it could be really overthinking things, and that's not going to help anything, So don't get caught up in the false evidence appearing real. Let's use this to have some enlightenment about it. Let's break free of old victim mentality, Pisces stuff, as we usher in this Aquarian age. And things may be eclipsed out of your life, but hopefully it's things that were just holding you down and holding you back, and you didn't need it anyway. That's hopefully what it's going to be. So the light bulb is on, they just said. The light bulb is on. So I keep getting these references to these famous, that kite thing. It was almost like a Ben Franklin, flying the kite with the electric. And then I just was seeing like Edison. So not sure what that means to anybody, but I was compelled to say it. All right, so here it is, the full moon in Aquarius. Hey, everyone, don't forget to check out, if you are interested in your soul's journey and what you're doing. I do these soul readings. It's your chart. And, I look at everything and I draw, and it has to do mainly with past lives and what you're doing here and what your soul journey is about. You can find that and everything else by going up in this info section, the eye in the sky. It's probably over here. And then the subscribe button below. If you do hit that info, it's going to take you to this page where I have all the stuff, how to make a donation, all my decks and books. I have some really cool astrology reports that are very affordable and expensive. And then here's the soul reading. Of course, the tapestry of life mandalas from your chart. And some other stuff that I do put out in the universe. And take a minute to check that out if you feel like it. I think I can just collapse this and it should bring me right back here. Yeah. Okay, so here it is. Full moon eclipse in Aquarius. Supercharged electric. It's electric. Boogie oogie. So, things are going to be amped up for good or for ill. That's all up to you. So I hope you have a great eclipse. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, everything you do to help me and the channel. Remember, you're love and beauty incarnate, and I'll speak to you soon.